right, rise and shine.
Rise and shine, chop chop.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day.
Rise and shine, rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
You guys are nerds.
This is exactly what the nerds want. Our name shall become legend. Spoken in hushed tones by nerds across the galaxy.
If you build it, nerds will come.
Nerds must love this place. They think we're a bunch of nerds, and I'll tell you something. I think they're right.
Let the nerds take over.
Let the nerds take over!
Rise and shine, nerds. We hope you've got your coffee. Deidra does, taking the swig right on camera. Because it's time for our brand new morning show for Love Thy Nerd and anyone who finds themselves at the cross-section of nerd culture and church culture. I'm Radio Matt. I'm the Director of Content and Resources for Love Thy Nerd.
And I'm Deidra, a direct descendant of Alf.
Later in the show, we're celebrating nerdiness year by year. But first, Deidra has some stuff she wants to talk about.
Yes, sorry. Shut up, it's my turn.
What do you got for us today?
Oh, a couple things. First thing I thought I would share some odd things that my daughter does that are slightly concerning. So we have a almost 2-year-old. She'll be 2 this month.
That's right.
And she is in full swing in her toddlerness. And yeah.
Her stinkerness.
Yes. The first thing she does is whenever she comes across my water, she puts stuff in it. I have found
pencils,
so many nail files, my bobby pins, and just her hands, too. She'll stick her hands in and then suck her hands. Yeah.
She knows it's your drink, too.
She does.
Like, she sees it, she'll, Mommy drink. She'll say that. I'm like, yeah. Mommy drink needs a pencil.
Needs a pencil in it.
Your water is incomplete.
It needs some more stuff in it. Yeah, I have found so many random things. And it's my fault. I just leave my water
You do.
on the side table in our bedroom.
Often multiple.
Yes.
Multiple glasses.
Well, I can't
water.
drink the same water now because who knows what's been in it. It's like when we were growing up and we had a cat. If you left your water out, you did not go and take another sip if you had left it unattended because she had probably drank out of it.
My wife has 3 glasses on my dresser. What is it? Yes. 2 is the normal. 3 has happened recently.
I recently was moving them into the kitchen, and there was one in the bathroom because I had moved it
new.
up. I wasn't drinking.
I really hope you weren't.
Extra. I
really hope you weren't drinking it every morning because I'm like, who knows what flies around.
It was just Natalie started sticking stuff in it, and so I just quickly put it in the bathroom attached to our room to get her out of it. And it was just sitting there for 3 days in the bathroom. So,
she's being quite the stinker with a lot of things.
Yes. Okay. Next one.
Oh, is it another part of it?
Be taking
Sorry, I thought you were done with the daughter part. Go ahead.
This one's really weird. We have decorative pillows.
That's what I was about to say.
I know. And she unzips them and grabs a big wad of stuffing and just sticks it in her mouth and walks around with it. Just likes to suck on the stuffing as she goes about her day.
She eats. She doesn't eat it, but she pulls it out like it's popcorn and just stuffs a whole bunch in her mouth.
And she's sitting there and she sits there and you can tell she's got something in her mouth. I'm like, Natalie, what do you have in your mouth? And she just goes bleh and just spits out this giant wad of cotton.
And we just stuff it back in the pillow.
I'm like, really?
I've had to buy a camera for our living room because I'm often working in my office. Doors open, they can run right in and I can, hear them perfectly fine. But they're often watching cartoons or whatever, or playing around in the living room. And so I had to buy a camera to watch because Natalie, if the boys leave Natalie alone, she'll just get herself a pillow and go hop up on my chair and unzip it. I'm like, I have a camera that I can just go, Natalie, stop doing that. Okay. She puts the pillow down and walks away.
Oh, she is so weird.
Yeah, she's funny. I like her. We'll keep her.
But because I was going to say these weird, I was also going to say something, positive about her. She's super smart. Mm-hmm. Like, she is scary smart to where she is. If we weren't lazy parents, she'd be potty trained already.
Probably.
She just understood how to do that right away, and wants to go pee pee in the potty. And I have to tell her, "Oh, you got a diaper on. You're fine."
Well, mommy's busy, so why don't you just go? Just go right now. Just stand right there and go.
Yeah, but Matt's mom used to tell me, because our boys were terrible, and we didn't get them potty trained until they were 3. And she
Eli was a
used
little
to tell
earlier,
me,
wasn't he?
No, he was 3.
Oh, okay.
He was 3.
Well, Johnny, we just flat out waited to where it was long enough that we didn't even have to really potty train.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was old enough to be like, okay. And he was tall enough that he could just stand in front of the toilet. Like, all right, you got it.
Yeah, we were like, maybe we waited too long with him.
It worked out, though.
He was potty trained in a day. But Matt's mom used to tell me all the time, "Oh, Matt was potty trained when he was 1." And I'm like, there's no way.
Super fast.
You're not remembering this right. But I believe it now.
We were the best of them.
Yeah. So there we go. Do I have some time?
Yeah, if you have another thing.
I thought we could discuss Matthew's hidden talents. I've just been writing random stuff down that I was like, oh, he was good at this. Potty prodigy.
Potty prodigy. First of all, I pee phenomenally, even as an adult. I hardly ever miss.
That was good. Do you remember those weird pictures where it's like all fuzzy?
Magic eye?
Magic eye. Mm-hmm. I have never in my life been able to see one of those ever.
I'm deeply ashamed of that for you. Yes.
I remember when we were dating, you had like a book, or we went and found a book, and you were like, just open it up and you're like, oh, that's this, and there's this dolphin over here, and there's the palm tree, and I'm like, what are you doing?
You started accusing me of lying and making it up.
I still do. I don't believe
Magic eyes is just a giant trick that half of society is playing on the other half.
I think so. I think it's just have fun with your friends and pretend like you can see this thing when there's really nothing there.
Yeah, I'm pretty quick at it. Like, I don't have to, most people have to get really close to it and then slowly back up and get cross. I can just. He just. I know how I have to look at it. I can't explain how it is, but I just
He's tried teaching me. I can
look right at it and just go, and I can see it. That's what happens.
Oh, I used to get so mad at you when we were dating, because we would. Someplace we went, there was a big poster of it or something.
It was outside of a bathroom at a gas station on a trip that we were going for youth group or something, or choir.
It's like, oh yeah, I see this. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? That's just a bunch of weird,
wiggly
random
squiggles.
Yeah.
What's cool about that? The comic strip Foxtrot came out with a week's worth of Magic Eyes, black and white, tiny, in the newspaper, but they had words written on them. They were like subliminal messages that the little brother was trying to get on everybody else in his family.
Really?
And they managed to pull that off with just printed black and white dots and squiggles too, and you could clearly see it. Like, it was almost like a handwritten note on the inside. More cookies or something like that. I didn't even realize it was that versatile. I thought it had to be those weird, wacky color forms, but I still don't understand how it works. But if I saw that in a newspaper and I couldn't get it to work, I wouldn't believe anybody who said, yeah, there's a secret message written right there, you can't see it.
Right.
Wouldn't believe it for a second. I would be so skeptical. So I understand it. If you can't do it, I can understand why you wouldn't believe it. Matrix glitches. He
tried so hard trying to get me to understand how that worked.
Look at it, and then you unlook at it. You unfocus, and then you take a step back, and you look at it, but you don't really. It's really hard. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah. Another hidden talent is you can stop your hiccups
Sure can.
on command.
That's a superpower. right there.
Yes, that's his superpower.
9 times out of 10. Every now and then you get those really deep guttural hiccups that are like from the depths of your soul. I can't stop those. But general hiccups, if it's happening, I go, hold on 1 second. Okay, they're done. And then they don't come back. It's some weird muscle in my throat. I can feel myself just aligning to where it will stop hiccuping. And I don't understand it.
You've
Mo
tapped
agreed.
into
Mo
it.
agreed that was a superpower too.
Yeah.
She sure did.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I just know I can do it. It's like some people who can move their ears or like move their pec muscles or whatever. Like, I don't know how to do that, but I figured out how to do this.
Tapped into a higher consciousness in your brain. And he's a good dancer. He doesn't believe me.
No,
Yeah.
never. What the heck are you talking about? I've danced all of 5 times since you've known me.
No, I am
didn't
a
even dance
terrible
at our
dancer.
wedding.
I know, because of me.
No, because of me.
I'm a
I don't
terrible
wanna dance.
dancer. But we were when Gangnam Style came out and we like
Okay, hold
had
on. I
some
can
sort
do
of
weird,
dance thing.
stupid dances.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that
It's not that I'm good at it. It's just that I'm not scared enough that I
you
won't
could just
try.
like pull out a move and I can't. I don't know how to do that.
Gangnam Style. What was it? It was a friend's wedding reception or something?
Yeah. It was like it wasn't
Or no, it wasn't a reception.
it was
just
like a bridal
low-key-
shower, but also with the a bride and groom.
It was like a party
thing.
essentially just for our
Yeah.
friend group to
Yeah.
come and celebrate them. But yeah,
They start playing it and he's like all of a sudden doing the moves and I'm like, how do you do that?
oh man. Tad says I can move my ocular muscle in my ear and make myself hear muffled noises. Oh, that's weird.
That is weird.
You can essentially give yourself earplugs. I do to soothe myself. That makes sense. As a soothing technique, it makes sense. But that's strange.
I'm going to try that now. Try and move something in my ear.
The only way I can move my ears is I like pull my entire forehead back. I can feel the skin tightening all the way around, and that moves my ears. You can't see it because it's got headphones on, but believe me. Do I have any other talents that are actually
Yes,
talents?
this last one's no. No, that's all your
Okay,
actual talents. This last one is just an annoying talent that you have.
Annoying talent.
Yes. On nights where I don't get much sleep, I end up being up late. You manage to get less sleep than me.
That's true.
And it's really annoying because now I can't complain about the lack of sleep I got. I only got 5 hours. Oh, yeah, I got 3 hours.
You me. You see the difference?
Seriously, like the other night, I was here late at the church putting together something for the kids. And I got terrible sleep, was up late, had to get up early. And I want to talk to him about it in the morning. And he's like, oh, man, so I had the worst night's sleep. He was up till I was because he doesn't know how to go to bed without me. And
I know how. I just prefer not to. I'm sorry. It's called love.
Matt sleeps? Yeah, he really doesn't.
Not as much as I should.
But I was like going to complain. And he immediately tells me when he wakes up.
Before you complain. I'm not like trying to top her.
Before
Just
I can
telling her.
even start with my own, he's like, I woke up in the middle of the night. I couldn't, I only got 3 hours of sleep.
Couldn't get back to
I was
sleep. Decided to
trying
get back up and
complain
go
to
work
you.
some more. Finally felt tired enough to go back to bed.
But when it happened, I realized that happens a lot. Quite often.
I don't know how I'm alive, honestly. I don't sleep.
And also, he doesn't know how to drink coffee. Like, I don't get a lot of sleep.
Excuse me? Hold on, what?
But this,
What was you about to say?
helps.
I don't know how to drink coffee?
You don't
I know
understand
how to drink coffee. I just don't like coffee. I'm sorry.
how coffee works.
Mosaic says, when my wife isn't home, I don't know when to go to bed. Now, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can go to bed. But like having any kind of feeling of like, well, I should go to bed now. That's out of the question, because what does that mean? I'm a grown adult in a house all by myself now. What what is bedtime? I don't know. Oh man, that's funny. All right, is that all your stuff about me?
That's it.
True.
That's it.
I can't ever complain.
You can't.
Ted, oh, I get it now. I don't sleep because I don't have a wife. Got it. Yeah, that's exactly. That's one of the benefits that they don't tell you about. Sleep so much better. Oh man! All right, we're gonna go ahead and stop it right there and take our first break.
Where is it?
It's the same line. Remember that we talked about yesterday that you should just probably know to say. I'm highlighting it. I'm going to highlight it right here. You ready?
But when we come back, we've got today's nerdy news story.
10 points. Good job.
Hi, I'm Julian Jamar, and this is another Reviews of the Nerds. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, coming to Disney Plus sometime soon on Amazon Prime for sale. The story goes that Rocket is terribly injured in battle, and we get to look into his past that no one really asked for, and I genuinely didn't want. Really, I could have gone the rest of my life without watching the monsters, who are the big baddies in this one, strap a tiny baby raccoon to a table and operate on it. Why, James Gunn? Why did you feel that was necessary? Anyway, Classic Gang is all here, including past Gamora, even though they deeply hinted at the end of Endgame that they couldn't find Gamora and that she was gone forever. Now she's back, and she's super mean, which, let's be honest, she was always super mean. Even when she was in love with Quill, she was mean. But whatever. She has a heart of gold, so bygones. Mantis and Drax are their same wonderful selves. This movie is about a lot of other things, but it would be nothing without these two. They are big-time glue for this cast and this storyline. They also provide the usual comic relief, thank goodness. Peter Quill is delightful, sweet and charming and deadly when needed, everything we love about him. The bad guy is the baddest of all bad guys. I think a bunch of Marvel execs just sat around a table and said, we've done the dude who will destroy half of all mankind and or strip the earth. We've done the megalomaniac in the computer code who tries to kill Sokovia and all the good guys too because of reasons. We've done Nazis. What worse thing could we possibly make a bad guy do? Ah, I've got it. Animal cruelty. Ugh, I hate it so much. I would explain the storyline further, but it was a lot. The High Evolutionary wants Rocket because he's really smart, I think. I don't really know. The reason gets lost in all the action. He spends the entire movie trying to get to Rocket and killing lots of innocent beings to accomplish it. I was told I would cry my eyes out, but actually I just wanted to do extremely bad and illegal things to the High Evolutionary. I heard it was the best of the three. It was really well done, but I liked the first best. Of all the recent Phase 4 Marvel movies, I think it was the most well done. It definitely had depth, character development, good writing, lots of their usual ridiculous humor. I laughed a lot, but also felt like I was being tortured at the same time. That's a fun mix. Not really. Anyway, I'm Julian Jamar. You can catch all my reviews at julianjamar.com. This has been another Reviews of the Nerds.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's brand new morning show. And there are 4 ways that you can experience our show. If you are a morning show purist, we would love for you to catch our finalized audio morning shows on LTN Radio, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern with an encore at 10. You can download the LTN Radio app today on your Apple or Android. Let's talk about piracy.
Nobody here does that.
Article from thegamer.com. This week, Disney removed a film called Crater from Disney Plus, which was released on May 12th of 2023.
Okay.
So like
Immediately.
less than 2 months it's been on the platform. 48 days, and to be in fact, about 7 weeks. Disney hasn't said why, but it seems most likely that it didn't perform well enough, and the company decided to remove it to write down the value of its content assets, therefore lowering their taxes. It's all about the money and always has been, and there are unfortunate consequences that come with this. Disney isn't the only streamer that's guilty of this. Every streaming service, including Netflix and HBO Max, now just Max, has taken shows and movies off their platforms without warning. Willow was canceled and removed from Disney, the rebooted show.
Really?
Yeah. Was canceled and removed from Disney. That was one of their, like, before Disney Plus even launched, it was one of their Disney Plus Day announcements, like, this is coming. And people were hyped about it. As well as the well-loved Single Drunk Female from Hulu. HBO pulled Westworld and Snowpiercer. Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies was canceled and pulled from Paramount Plus just last month. Just a couple weeks ago, they canceled Star Trek Prodigy, the animated kids show from Star Trek.
Wow.
It seems like anything could be pulled at any time, and that sucks. It's bad enough that streaming services are canceling shows left and right because they don't meet arbitrary sales targets, but when they are pulled from these platforms entirely, many of them disappear forever without any other way to get to them. Several of them aren't even like on DVD or anything like that. But a lot of people just don't have DVD players anymore. We don't.
We don't.
Yeah. I don't even have a computer with a disk drive, so I can't even throw it in in my computer to play it. A lot of these shows are made for streaming, never aired on cable, and were never physically released. Bigger prestige shows like Westworld and Snowpiercer appeared on cable originally and are more likely to have Blu-ray releases, but these Disney shows are gone, or other things. There's no legal way to watch them anymore, and these companies are not interested in even selling you the access, because again, if they are able to remove it from their platform, it lowers their taxes. It's a reduction of content assets. Which I think the first streaming service to do this was Paramount Plus, or at least the first one to get notice. No, I'm sorry, HBO Max. HBO Max canceled or got rid of a whole bunch of stuff in their catalog when they combined with Warner Brothers. And so it seems that some people have no choice but piracy if they want to watch some of their favorite, now impossible to stream shows. Everything on streaming services are on the dark web somewhere, so just no legal way, but does archival sanctions come into effect when they are removed? I don't know. I missed Dark Crystal series. Netflix did, yeah. Apparently Echo was going to get the same treatment as Batgirl, but they're holding on to it because of the writer's strike. Yep. I still have a 4K player and a disc drive on my computer. I still have hard copies of my favorite movies. That's good. I did before, well, Netflix was around, but before Netflix, maybe Hulu, but before any of the other streaming services started coming out, I took all of our DVDs, of which we had a lot. That's mainly what we bought in our early years of marriage, was just collected a whole bunch of DVDs. I painstakingly, over 6 months, ripped every single DVD that we had, and I'd say about 80% of it was successful. It wasn't corrupted or anything. And so we have a big old drive full of shows and movies. They're just hard to access. Like, if I want to watch them on my computer, yeah, that's easy. But if I have to put them in my TV, then you got to go through the weird TV process. And sometimes it takes forever to load. But the piracy thing, back when we were younger, to pirate movies and TV shows and things like that, you had to download them from like the Pirate Bay or uTorrent or all these different things. You would download this extremely
Poor.
yeah, it's usually very low quality. Putlocker, yeah, very low quality because they had to cram it into it wasn't even a zip; it was a RAR file, so that was even smaller than a zip. They had to cram it all into this so they could you could download it, and then open it up, and you'd have this. But it wouldn't ever. Sometimes it would have bad subtitles. Sometimes it would be the wrong thing altogether. You never really knew. It would take hours and sometimes days to download these things because they're all based on like, you're not having a direct download from somewhere. They're all based on other people having it like open in their system, and like you would download bits and chunks from everybody, a little bit from everybody, which I don't know, maybe that's a way to, have a hard time proving that you downloaded it from one specific source. I have no idea. But anyway, that's what you had to do back then if you wanted to pirate things. And we totally never did that. And that's how I don't know at all how it works. But now there are websites, not even dark web websites like Tad Hall said, just freely open websites that have a back catalog of everything from every streaming source, and even a lot of things that aren't on streaming services, movies, TV shows. Very easy to access, very easy to search. It's just on a browser that is completely free. And you're not downloading anything. You're just streaming it from the website. And there lies the rub with the problem that the streaming services are going to face, is that at this point, there's nothing illegal about it. There is no legal precedent that says you can't watch a video online. You're not responsible for it being up there. You didn't put it there, and you're not downloading it. You're watching a video someone else has put on the screen. It might be a weird gray area, and that might be addressed legally in the near future. But as of right now, there's no law that says you can't watch something that is on the internet that it itself is not like an illegal thing, like a snuff film or something like that, that can't exist.
Right.
These are, things that some other person has put up and you're just watching it. And that's a gray area. And so that's a problem, because now I have done that before, because there have been times that I don't remember what the movie was. There was like a specific movie I really wanted to watch, and it's nowhere. Couldn't even rent it online, nothing. And like, well, I'll see if this place has it. And that's kind of how I found it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I watched it, and it was great. And it was such an easy experience, and it cost me nothing. And so I feel like the streaming services really got to realize, you know what? We got to make a balance here. And I don't know if that's just how it was always going to be, because every one of these streaming services, as they started, has said that they're not going to be profitable for a long time, if ever.
Wow.
Netflix, I think, is the only one that's still profitable. I don't think any of the other ones have ever been technically profitable. They're pulling in you to their company and to their brands and helping you, connect with their brands and IP outwardly, but the streaming services themselves don't make enough money. So that means they're either raising prices, which most of them have done already, adding more ads. Disney already has an ad tier now, which it didn't at the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Or just hoping you won't go and look for it anywhere else. Netflix has been going downhill for a while now. Tropic Turtle says, yeah, I would agree with that. And their password sharing thing, the password sharing thing changed up, and that feels like a desperate move, especially when they spent many years being like, it's cool. Like I saw someone post like a tweet that they had posted in 2014 saying love is sharing a password, a Netflix password with someone. And then suddenly it's like, well, if you don't live within 50 feet of the Wi-Fi router that is connected to this account, then you got to pay another $8 to be on this account a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you. So I don't know. So why are they doing this again? Let's talk about costs. Are article from Wall Street Journal. Services such as Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and Max become default entertainment options for homes across America rather than cable, saving many consumers money. But for the titans of Hollywood, the shift has been costly. Traditional media and entertainment companies have reported losses of more than $20 billion combined since early 2020 on their direct-to-consumer streaming services. So a lot of money. Wow. A lot of money they're having to eat. Netflix, which brings in profits, is the exception, but the rest of the industry is wondering, while consumers love streaming, is it actually a good business? Investors now care about profitability rather than growth. Change that makes finding new revenue streams and retaining customers critical. Studios that for years were able to splurge on content to feed viewers' insatiable appetite for new shows and films now must pull back to make the math work. The ad market is weakening. Many companies have laid off staff to save money, and Hollywood writers are currently on strike. Market values for Paramount Global, Comcast, Walt Disney, and Netflix are down more than $280 billion combined since the end of 2020. Warner Brothers Discovery is worth about half of its total value since 2022 trading debut as the company combined. The declines have come after many of the stocks rose during the early part of the pandemic when consumers were stuck at home and hungry for entertainment. So that's also the problem. Essentially, mainly with Disney Plus. It's like they came out in the height, or like just before the pandemic, and like everyone's like, all right, well, here we go. We're gonna watch all of our Disney stuff from all of history.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what their other option would be at this. I mean, no one has cable anymore, right? They've given us the ability to stream and have their channel, and I don't think they can take it away.
I don't think they can just end it.
I don't think.
Right? Even if a service ends, like if Paramount Plus closes down, they're going to sell the rights to stream those shows to other streamers, just like they did before. Just like when there was only Netflix and Hulu. Right. They would split them up between the two. And currently a lot of movies and stuff bounce around between all the streaming services, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I don't know what they could do. I don't know what they could do at this point. I feel like they're all kind of stuck. And if they just give it up, they might save a little bit of money in the short term, but I think it's going to hurt their brand overall. So I don't know. Is it our fault? Have we hurt them? All right. All that to say, streaming services are in a tough spot. Let's take one more break. And when we get back, we're diving into our main topic, nerding out over the past.
What if I told you there's more than 3 billion gamers on the planet? What if I told you that we're sending missionaries into almost every culture and every country and every language on the planet except one of the largest and most unreached people groups in the world? And that world is the world of gaming and nerd culture. With the rise of things like Stranger Things and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Harry Potter, you name it, nerd culture has been on a rise for dozens of years. And it has outgrown Christianity by almost 1 billion people. My name is Mark, and I am the lead and founding pastor of Lux Digital Church. My wife and I ministered in Pittsburgh for 11 years, and then 2 years ago started an entirely online church that reaches people in the digital gaming community. We now have a church family that is spread across almost 16 time zones all across the globe, and we get the opportunity every single day to actively engage in deep, impactful relationships with people, to see them not only come to know Jesus, but also to grow up and become more like Jesus. I am incredibly passionate about the church learning how to engage the next generation, and the next generation, spoiler alert, are mostly gamers. When Jesus says to go and love your neighbor, well, statistically, if your neighbor is a teenager or younger, if they are Gen Z or Gen Alpha, statistically, your neighbor is a nerd or a gamer. And for the most part, the church has little to no idea about how to actively engage with those subcultures. And they're not even becoming subcultures. They're mostly just our culture, which is why us at Lux Digital Church and also our friends over at Love Thy Nerd are putting together something called the Nerd Culture Ministry Summit this upcoming November in Marble Falls, Texas. It's a chance for you as a pastor and your team to come and learn how to actively engage in an impactful and meaningful way with a group of people that the church has largely ostracized, told their hobbies are stupid, or have mostly totally and completely forgotten about. The only way to actively engage with them and to tell them about the life-giving gospel is to build relationships with them through the things that they love. And most of those people, well, they love video games and board games and tabletop RPGs. And we want to teach and train you on how to actively get into that community. So we're gathering together nerd culture ministry leaders and nerd culture ministry missionaries, and we're pulling them together in one space for one summit to teach the church how to engage with this culture, to build bridges between church culture and nerd culture. It's going to be in Marble Falls, Texas this November. I hope to see you there. Make plans to be there. Go to ncmsummit.com and get registered today. It's inexpensive and a great opportunity for you and your team to learn how to connect with the next generation in a way that goes beyond just another pizza night. I'll see you there.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's brand new morning show.
Before we jump into our main topic today, we've got a resource recommendation. And we mentioned this yesterday too. This past Friday, Radio Matt and Rachel Knight compiled a massive new resource called Nerds and the Church. This resource is all about the disconnect between nerd culture and church culture and how we can bridge the gap. You can find it on the homepage right now on lovethynerd.com.
This week we are looking back at what we nerded out over in years gone by. Today we're looking at the year of 1986. We're going to start with Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I love that movie. I discovered it maybe as a teenager.
Yeah, I feel like it was, if you and I both kind of started watching it. We bought it. I bought it as a teenager, but that's, that's when I was first working at Wiener Schnitzel for the first time, and all I had to pay was my car insurance and gas, and I had no other expenses. So I just bought a bunch of movies all the time.
Meanwhile,
Trucker Turtle
I'm
says I wasn't born
scrimping
yet.
and saving, and he's like, just all cash all the time.
All cash. That's what they called me. All cash Coker. That's what they called me back then. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, of course, many lines and essentially memes now from there, but I think the most iconic would be the Ben Stein Bueller.
So I watched the like the bonus stuff on the DVD we had, and he talked about how like when he's in class and doing the lesson, that was like literally him, the actor, like teaching on a topic that he knew.
He was actually teaching. Yeah,
like he was like,
he's a smart dude.
I got some stuff to talk about, like, and he just went on and on.
Like, I don't know,
like it was not written out. I
don't know if you remember. I watched it a lot when I was a teenager. I don't remember if you remember the game show that was on Comedy Central called Win Ben Stein's Money.
Okay, I recall it, but I don't know that I ever watched it.
It's where Jimmy Kimmel was first showcased too. He was like the little sidekick guy. But it was all about that. He was a brilliant dude, and is basically if you could prove you were smarter than him on something in this game show, you would win some of his actual money. And I thought that was really cool. It wasn't ever like a whole bunch. I think it was like at most a couple $1,000 you could win, but still, it was really neat. But yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, iconic movie.
Anyone?
Yeah. Alf came out. Alien life form.
We watched Alf.
Did you watch Alf? I figured I figured that you did. I didn't.
We had an Alf puppet. Oh my goodness, we had like a little Alf puppet,
and I always forget your parents were like puppeteers back then. Yeah. I didn't catch that part of their life. Except one, I think they pulled it out one time at church, didn't they? it was a VBS or something where we had like a house set and they were like puppets behind the house.
Maybe.
One time. But apparently they had like trunks full of puppets hidden up in their attic.
Yes, it was their,
I never knew about.
The children's ministry they did when we were living in Germany.
Yeah,
called
that's right. Yeah.
Sunshine Straße, I think. I think that means Sunshine Street. And
I'll look it up.
yeah, lots of they would do full productions of the puppets like first Sunday morning.
The translation for street into German has a weird bee looking thing in it.
Can you do the little where you say it?
Straße.
Hey, okay, cool. Straße.
Straße.
Sunshine Straße.
That was like a Hispanic accent. Straße.
Straße.
Anyway, yeah, we had a little Alf puppet. I remember bugging my brother with it all the time. I kept putting it on.
The only thing I remember about Alf is that he liked to eat. He wanted to eat the family cat. And I remember a scene of him behind like the kitchen island or whatever with a big hoagie roll, and the cat was in the middle of it, and he was like caught putting the top part on top of the cat.
Top bread.
Mosaic says I have Alf trading cards as well.
Wow.
Talking about trading cards yesterday. All right. The Mystery of Al Capone's Vault. Now, this doesn't sound like a nerdy thing, but let me tell you why it is.
Okay.
This was the start, really, of like the 24-hour news cycle. Like, this was the start of news as entertainment.
Okay.
Where people were actually like just glued to the screen to see what was going to happen. And so this was Geraldo Rivera. They had discovered Al Capone's vault, and it was this big thing. They were digging through, trying to get to opening this vault up. Like it was, they were trying to bust it open, expecting to find, I don't know, dead bodies, millions of dollars, who knows, guns, all kinds of things. And they opened it up finally after hours and days of build up, I think. And there was nothing in there. It was pretty much empty. It was like a few pieces of paper. Like, it was nothing. Weird Al, I think, made a joke about it, saying, "We found Al Capone's car and we're going to open up his glove box. Aha! Road maps." It was nothing in there. But that kind of kicked off the whole thing of just using news as entertainment as opposed to just information.
Wow.
So we have him to thank for it. We have him to thank for CNN and Fox News and all this nonstop
shenanigans
news networks. Double Dare started in 1986.
I don't know what that is.
What?
I'm sorry.
Mark Summers? Double Dare, the Nickelodeon game show where they got all gross and slime everywhere, and they had the slopsicle course.
Nickelodeon slime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't the start of the slime, but it used it heavily. Start of the slime actually started on a show called You Can't Do That on Television, and it was before Nickelodeon had even become its own channel. Mm-hmm. But it was a lot of people involved with that show were the same people that kind of started the network and got everything going, and the slime kind of carried over.
Wow. Okay.
You didn't think I knew that, did you? Now you know. I have a lot of useless information about Nickelodeon.
Another one of your hidden talents. No random facts about things.
All right, we talked about this yesterday. This one thing. Mm-hmm. It was Garbage Pail Kids, the trading cards of these nasty Cabbage Patch Kid dolls that just they were having terrible things happen to them in the cards. And so I didn't realize they were Cabbage Patch Kid dolls kind of when I was a kid. I just thought they were big-headed babies. And I remember as a kid saying, why would anyone draw a baby getting run over by a car, and it has like the tire marks stretched all the way down the baby. You're like, this is terrible. Why is my brother collecting these? Is he a serial killer? What's going on?
Is that me as a baby?
Oh, but I remember just like gross inside out bodies and just the nastiest puke. Puke always had an eyeball in it. Like, it was just the nastiest kind of stuff. Rust pus. Yeah, just any kind of bodily fluid or nastiness thing was always a part of it. It is so bad. So bad. Mosaic has one to add to our list here. Comics took a drastic turn in 1986 with the release of the 4-issue Batman Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. And of course, the 12-issue Watchmen series by Alan Moore. I don't have either of those on my list, so thank you so much. Dark Knight Returns, of course, heavily influential in a lot of Batman lore going forward. We even got a taste of that in the Batman vs. Superman movie, the sequel to Man of Steel, essentially, where he got to wear that armor and whatever. It was like, that's kind of how that movie, or that's kind of how that comic book series went. It was fighting Superman at one point. Watchmen, I'm not as familiar with the Watchmen. I know it's been a big deal, and I know that's folded into the main DC Comics lore. I don't know if it's split back off again, but I know it did, at least for a while, as well. But also, I do know that was very influential in the comic sector. We have a little bit more comics stuff to talk about here in a second. But first up, Short Circuit.
Also,
number 25.
Also one we watched a lot as a kid.
I love both of those terrible movies. Yeah. They're absolutely stupid, and I love them so much. Johnny Five is alive. No murder, Johnny Five. Loved it. Loved it. Johnny Five, or Wally, stylized very similarly to Johnny Five, like a small Johnny Five, if you want to get the gist of what this robot looked like. But it was a fun time. That's what those, especially the second one. The second one was even dumber than the first one, but it was a fun time. It was a good watch. That was just if you wanted to have a low-key, low-brain day, you watch the Short Circuit movies. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Oh, your introduction into Star Trek.
Not to Star Trek, but to the original series. Really.
To the original, okay.
I'm not counting Generations, because Generations was mainly just about Kirk, and everyone knew Kirk. But that was the first time that you had brought me into the original series cast.
Okay.
Which was a time travel movie.
And so, of course, you
loved it. Loved it. Love time travel. Voyage Home. They go back in time to save humpback whales somehow, for some reason, right? That's what it was. Like, the humpback whales were going extinct. At least that was part of what they did when they were there. They saved the humpback whales.
They had to go get one and bring it with them.
That's right. Because there was like an alien
they were
thing
distinct. Yeah.
That was communicating in the same manner as a humpback whale communicates, something like that.
But it was, we don't have those whales anymore.
Right.
So we gotta go get one.
And that was kind of the message. It was like, hey, these humpback whales are going extinct.
Yeah.
So as a message of this movie, hey, let's save these whales. Which I guess we still have them. So I'm assuming
we did it.
We did it.
Good job.
Star Trek did it. But that was where, like, you saw them interacting with all this old technology. So Scotty picks up the mouse. Hello, computer. So good. They got to do the kind of I'm walking here moment with Star Trek and Spock, or Star Trek with Kirk and Spock as they're walking across the street. Like, it's the classic, hey, I'm walking here thing, but he didn't say that line, but it was a similar setup. Like, all really good. All really fun stuff. The Care Bears cartoon premiere. Did you watch that when you were a kid? It seems like something you'd watch.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes.
I watched it as a kid. I had a couple of the movies that came out after the cartoon started. Like, I watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a Care Bear. I think I was the only one
sleepy Care Bear
in my family that had a Care Bear.
Yeah.
Oh, Natalie and her Care Bear.
Natty loves her Care Bear.
Yeah.
She has 3 little Care Bears.
Cowbells.
Booster Gold. Everybody's favorite hero for hire. Booster Gold from the comic strips. More well known in the last couple decades as like the kind of sponsored superhero. Like you have sponsor logos and stuff over them. One of the main characters in the comic series called 52, that was actually a 52-week long series, which I absolutely loved. One of my favorite things in recent comic history.
Thanks, Random Rick Reviews.
Oh, Random Rick Reviews. Thanks for hanging out. Go shoot some basketball. Have a great day. But Booster Gold has been featured in like every recent DC TV show in some form. Well, I would say that's not Batman related. Let's put it that way. So we had him in Smallville for at least one episode, maybe 2. I like that. That was the more comic accurate Booster Gold. Arrowverse had Donald Faison from Scrubs, the Turk from Scrubs, as a Booster Gold who was just kind of like, he didn't have a suit. He was wearing like a golf uniform, and he had a hat that had his little star on it. And he was just watching over a specific moment in time to make sure nobody messed with it. And then when the legends came and asked him why he was here, he figured out, wait, nobody would come and mess with this one. They put me here as a joke. I've been here for years watching something that nobody would ever come to. So that was funny. That was a funny interpretation. But I don't know if it's still happening or not, but there's supposed to be like a Booster Gold Blue Beetle show. There was supposed to be on HBO Max. I feel like it got canceled. But that's always been the pairing in the comics, is Booster Gold and Blue Beetle have always been together.
Right.
Booster Gold, one of the people that fought Doomsday when Doomsday was first arriving and eventually killed Superman. Like, he was one of the people on the way that he put himself on the path and tried to fight him off. So
wow,
can't hate on him too much. Christian wants to add, Transformers the movie came out in 1986. This would be the animated movie. I nearly destroyed many kids as they killed Optimus Prime off. There was a lot of backlash from fans, and they brought him back in the follow-up TV season. I did not know Optimus Prime died in that movie. I don't think I've ever seen it. That's a risky move.
Yeah.
Whew. So I'm assuming that meant it nearly killed. Yeah, not I. I went on a rage when it happened in the theater. Nearly destroyed everything.
Yeah, kids crying coming out of that movie. That'd be
sad.
great.
That's a sad thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, The Legend of Zelda, the original game, came out. I'm mentioning it because it's an important thing for a lot of people, but I cannot play Zelda games. I just am not patient enough or not smart enough. I see the appeal. I want to like Zelda games, and I want to be good at them. I even, on the Switch, you have the consoles that are like the virtual consoles, and they have a version of some of the original Zelda games that are like already almost beaten, so you can have all the worlds open and look at everything and travel everywhere. They did that for a lot of the games from back then. And even that, I can't. I load it up, I'm like, okay, well, now I have no idea what I'm doing.
What is this?
Super Mario Brothers, The Lost Levels came out on the NES. This was the actual Super Mario Brothers 2 from Japan, like the real one that released only in Japan at first, because they thought Americans were not smart enough or good enough at video games to handle this. So we're gonna skin Doki Doki Panic's sequel in Super Mario characters and send that over instead. Metroid also came out at this time, which I'm also not great at, but I know is a key video game moment. And this is also the year that Owen Hart began his wrestling career. Owen Hart.
Who's that?
One of the Hart family, which is a dynasty in wrestling.
Okay.
But Owen Hart is the one who, as his sometimes character, the Blue Blazer, Blue Blazer would come in from a zip line in the stadium and then be lowered into the ring. And at I think it was Over the Edge pay-per-view. That was when the zipline malfunctioned and he fell and his head hit the turnbuckle and he passed away right there on the pay-per-view.
Gosh.
I was watching that live when it happened.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't show the moment happening. Like they were quick enough to not have that on camera, but everything went silent.
I'm sure.
They had Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler having to explain what was happening and tragic thing. And then there were 3 matches left. What do you do? People have paid the pay-per-view money already. Like, you can't just stop the show. Or if you did, like there was no winning in that situation there either.
People were upset either way.
Upset either way. So they made the decision to continue. And I believe they just did it without commentary. And so it was like, let's just hurry up, get these matches done in the pay-per-view. But that was the first like wrestling tragedy that I remember experiencing.
Crazy.
Yeah, a horrible, horrible event. And a sad note to end on. I apologize for that.
Way to go, man.
But we are going to go ahead and cap off the year right there as our time is expiring. We are going to be back tomorrow to look at 1987. But as for today...
My birth year.
Yeah. But as for today, we're out of coffee, so it's time to wrap things up.
But before we go, let's get our verse of the day. John 3:36, whoever believes in the Son has eternal life. Whoever does not obey the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God remains on him.
And with that, our Tuesday show is coming to a close. Thank you for joining us for Rise and Shine Nerds. We want to invite you to get behind the scenes by joining our LTN Discord community. Once you've joined at lovethynerd.com/Discord, simply go to channels and roles and click on the Rise and Shine Nerds channel to gain access to it. You can help us plan shows and segments and even be on the show yourself on occasion. Subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app or through the Love Thy Nerd YouTube channel. And don't miss an episode. Trombone Dalek, thank you for cheering those bits. And tell us what you think of the show via our socials at Rise and Shine LTN on Facebook and Twitter. Once again, I'm Radio Matt.
I'm Deidra.
And as always, a reminder.
Jesus loves you, nerds.